we're going to take a look at some tools you can use to organize your inbox and keep better track of messages that are important or that you need to follow up on. And we're going to do that through the use of stars and labels primarily. So let's take a look at how those work. You'll notice there are stars next to all the email messages, and it's just an outline at first. But if I choose to make one of these messages a starred message, I can click on it, and that message is now has a little star next to it. If I click now on the starred item on the left menu bar here, then it only shows me starred messages. And so I can see that I've got these 3 messages with stars on them. And so if there's messages you just want to quickly keep track of and then be able to get back to them later real quickly, just put a little star next to it. Even if it's 10 pages in the past here on your email, you can click the starred tab and it'll pull up all those messages with stars next to them. Okay. Now, sometimes 1 star is not enough for some people. So we're going to go to the settings menu and click on settings. And in the general tab here, there's an item called stars. And if you'll notice, there's all kinds of stars you can use. And there's a couple presets. You can do a 4-star set. So you got a yellow and blue and then a green check mark and a pink exclamation point. Or you can do all of them. Or you can just go back to 1 star and just drag out a couple that you like. So maybe you want to just do yellow and red and green check mark and a yellow exclamation point. Okay, so use those 4 or whatever, or maybe a 5th one, a question mark. So the way that multiple stars work is if I go back to my inbox, oh, I didn't save my changes. Let's jump down the page here. Always make sure you save changes. Okay, now back in my inbox, if I want to put a star next to an item, I can click once, click twice to change it to the next star in my pattern. And that way I can use all those different colors. So I could choose to grab, maybe the calendar item needs an exclamation point. Maybe I have a question about this one. And maybe this one and this one are yellow stars. And this one and this one are red stars. So you can set it up like that. Now all of these count as stars. So if I click the starred tab, all of those items would show up. But this is just a little method for me to separate those even further into ones I have questions about or ones that I need to be aware of, whatever meaning I might associate with those. Another fantastic tool for organizing your messages is labels. And so the way labels work is I can open up a message. Here's a Google Calendar event reminder. And so I can go up here to the label tab and choose to add a label to that. And so maybe I'll just say this is a priority item. And so that's been added to the priority label list. So if I go down here and I see there's priority, if I click on that, anything that I labeled priority would get that, would show up in this list. I can also choose to give this a particular color. And so I can say priority items are orange with white text. And then if I go back to my inbox, I can see this one has the priority label on it. So I could click a number of messages and then label them with priority, and they all show up just like that. And then when I click this, I get this list of all those items that are priority. You can also tag items with more than one tag. So maybe these 2 are not only priority, but they are also ones I need to follow up on. And so I apply that, and you can see there's follow up next to it. So we'll go over here to follow up, click the little down arrow, and I'll say follow up maybe has a light blue label. Okay, and so now I've got another one I labeled follow up here. If I click the follow up tab, I see all those messages that have the follow up label. And so note that some of these can have more than one label. So that's an advantage over storing things in folders. If you put a file into a folder, it can only be in one place unless you want to make copies of it. But with labels, you can give an item several different labels. And then if you click that labels tab over here, you'll get everything with that label. And so you can have things show up in more than one place if you want to use it that way. You can also add your own custom labels. And so if these items here aren't enough for you, you can create your own. So you go to the More tab down here and you choose Create a New Label. Give the label a name. I'll set this one up for anything having to do with Tech Day, and I'll say Create. And then I'll give it a color so it stands out to me, and we'll do red and white here. And then I'll go back to my inbox and deselect everything, and I'll pick out those messages that I know have to do with Tech Day. In fact, I could even search up here for Tech Day, and everything that comes up is going to be Tech Day. I could even select all and then apply the Tech Day label. And these all are Tech Day. And so I go to inbox and I can see mixed in with all my messages are several that have to do with Tech Day. So there's one, there's one, there's one. And so I can just go to Tech Day and see all of them on one page. Or go to my inbox and just kind of see those sitting there. So that's how you can use labels and stars to keep track of your messages. There's one other thing on here that we haven't talked about, and that's this yellow marker that's on some emails but not all emails. And this is the important marker. So if I click the important tab, it's only showing me those ones that have the yellow marker next to it. What I've found is that Google isn't always aware of what's important to me, and so sometimes this doesn't make a lot of sense. You can turn it off, and you can deselect the important tab for anything you want. But if you have this feature turned on, Google's going to try to guess whether this is important or not. So how do you control that? If you go to Settings, and we go to Inbox, then you can look here under Importance Markers. So in the Importance Markers section, you have two options. You can show the markers, or you can show no markers. And that's actually what I'm going to recommend, because I just don't think Google does a great job of figuring out what's important and what's not. So you don't want to depend on that and ignore emails that aren't important according to Google, because you might miss something that actually is important. Google it has a button here to use your past actions to predict which messages are important to me. So they've got some kind of algorithm there to figure that out. It may not be a good idea to depend on that. So I'm just going to say, probably should set this to no markers, and that's how I do it. When you set that, make sure you click Save Changes. So back in the inbox, you can see that the important marker is no longer visible. It's not even showing up at all. So I just have my stars and then the checkbox to select items. So that's how you can use labels and stars to help you sort through your messages and keep track of which ones you need to pay attention to.